Hi, my 10 CBSE biology students. This is Deepthi Nair once again, and welcome to BioBench. Today, we are going to deal with heterotrophic nutrition, part 3. In my last video, I have already completed till stomach, and we are going to continue with the small intestine today. So, let's get started. So, the food which was present in the stomach, I have already told it is mixed with HCl. So, now the food which is present in the stomach is acidic, right? And the mucus lining was there in the stomach, which helps in the protection of the inner lining. And we also have enzyme pepsin secreted in the stomach for the partial digestion of protein. So this part is already over in the stomach. Now, when the food is entering into the small intestine, we have a special kind of muscle which is present, which is called as pyloric sphincter muscle. Pyloric sphincter muscle will help in transferring the food from the stomach into the small intestine. Small intestine, as the name suggests, may be small. The name suggests it to be small, but actually it is the longest part of the gastrointestinal tract. That is about 7 meter long and 22 feet. It's about 22 feet. So it's quite amazing thing. It's like what we say, it can be shocking for you to know that it's 7 meter long. So the width is very small and it is a compactly packed structure present in the lower part of the abdomen. So you can see the structure which I have shown here of the small intestine. It can be divided into three parts: duodenum, jejunum and ileum. Duodenum part and the ileum part, the digestion happens, but no digestion takes place in the jejunum. In small intestine, remember this point, there is no digestion taking place in the middle part. The maximum digestion gets finished in the duodenum part. So food from the stomach is entering into the small intestine with the help of pyloric sphincter. The small intestine is also receiving the secretions from two other organs. This is our liver, and this yellow color structure is called pancreas. So pancreas and the liver are also secreting its secretions into the small intestine, right? Liver will secrete bile juice, pancreas will secrete pancreatic juice. So these two are also entering into the small intestine. Now the frequently asked question I have given here: why is small intestine in herbivores larger than carnivores? Why? It depends on the food they eat, right? So herbivores are grass eating animals. So they need to digest the cellulose which is present in the grass. In that case, the digestion process takes more time, and the small intestine is slightly larger as compared to carnivores. So that is the answer. Because of the cellulose digestion. So the reason is, for cellulose digestion, they have larger small intestine. Hope it is clear. Now next is liver. About liver, what is the secretion for the liver? Bile juice, as I told already. So the bile juice will help in the digestion of fats. Fat will be present in the big globule or a big particle, which needs to be broken down into small particles. So I have shown here it's broken down to small particles, and that process is called as emulsification. This is a 1 mark question asked. What is emulsification? I have given here. So what is emulsification? Breaking down of the big fat molecules into smaller parts. That is, emulsified fats is emulsification. One more function for bile juice. It makes the acidic medium alkaline. It will help in converting the acidic medium into alkaline medium so that the pancreatic enzymes can act very easily. Now the food which is coming from the stomach, it's already acidic. Pancreatic enzymes cannot act on it. So in order to make them more active, what we are doing? Bile juice is converting it into alkaline form. Now food is alkaline, right? Now pancreas. Pancreas, what do? They are secreting pancreatic juice, and pancreatic juice contains two major enzymes, that is trypsin and lipase. This lipase will help in breaking down of the emulsified fat. This fat is further broken down with the help of lipase. Emulsified fat is further broken down with the help of lipase, and trypsin is a protein digesting enzyme again, which will only work in the alkaline medium. That is important. What is the difference between pepsin and trypsin? If they are asking you, you have to say pepsin acts in acidic medium and trypsin will only act in the alkaline medium. So that's the difference. Moving further. Now food, after getting digested from the liver side and pancreas side, it is entering the intestine. Now intestine itself has its own glands which will secrete intestinal juice. Now this intestinal juice also contains enzymes which help in completing the digestion. So digestion fully gets completed in the small intestine. How? Carbohydrate is getting converted into simple sugar, proteins are converted into their simpler form amino acids, and fats are converted into fatty acids and glycerol. So here completes the digestion of all the nutrients. Now after digestion, the next step is absorption. So absorption of nutrients and water also takes place in the small intestine with the help of villi. So these villi are the finger-like projections, tiny finger-like projections which are present, and they will increase the surface area for absorption. You can see the villi drawn here. You can see the small structures here, like this is microvilli. They are connected with the blood capillaries. So what will happen, whatever the food is getting absorbed, it can reach to all parts of the body with the help of these blood vessels. They are richly supplied with blood vessels so that the absorption can be more efficient. Now the question which is asked is, where is the food absorbed in the body and how? So in that case, you have to specify it. In the small intestine, the food is getting absorbed and it is with the help of villi. So how? You have to tell it by explaining the reason which is given here. Next is, from the small intestine, after the absorption is getting over, the next step is the food is going to the large intestine. Now the large intestine figure you can see here. Large intestine, the name is large, but as I said, it is smaller than the small intestine. How much smaller? It is only 1.5 meter long, and in feet it is 5 feet. So large intestine is also divided into three parts. What is it? Cecum, colon, and rectum. These are the three parts of the large intestine, right? Cecum is the first part shown here. Then comes the colon, and the last one is rectum. So this is ascending colon, this is transverse colon, and this is descending colon. And finally, the food is reaching rectum, where it is temporarily stored. So what do the large intestine do? The water and the salts which is present in the waste food, the food which is entering the large intestine, has some amount of water and salts already present. So that extra amount of water and salts are getting absorbed in the large intestine, and further the unwanted food is getting stored in the rectum. Next is anus. So after the undigested food is moving from the rectum, it is temporarily stored. It is temporarily stored in the rectum. The leftover waste is being released out through anus, and the process is known as egestion. The process of removal of unwanted waste from the body is called as egestion, and it is taking place with the help of a muscle which is called as anal sphincter muscle. This anal sphincter muscle present in the anus helps in the removal of waste. So the question which is asked is, what is egestion? So you have to give the same definition. The removal of waste from the body through anus with the help of the anal sphincter is called as egestion. So we have finished the whole digestive system by this, and the diagram which is given in the NCERT is this, the full digestive system, which you can practice it. If they are asked to draw, like they are asking you to draw it, you need to practice this diagram. So hope you liked today's video. Please like, share and subscribe. See you soon. Bye.